Yo, what's up, y'all? This is your boy B Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. I know it's been a minute since I've done a video. Life has pretty much taken over, and so I haven't done much videos as I should have. But you know what? I'm gonna start doing it here now. But I wanted to particularly talk about the whole LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith situation because it's been pretty much the heat of the discussion in the entire sports media world. I mean, I've seen a lot of different videos, a lot of different live streams pretty much talking about this whole situation. And it all precipitated with when Stephen A. Smith went on his First Take show and literally made some derogatory remarks about Bronny James as a basketball player and tries to, disrespect LeBron James as a father. And what do you know? LeBron James obviously heard those comments and pulled up on him in Los Angeles while Stephen A. Smith was on courtside and pretty much told him, hey, don't be saying those things about my son to me ever again. And I'm just paraphrasing in that sense. But it pretty much got blown way out of proportion because then after that, Stephen A. Smith had to address that thing on his own television show. And ever since then, he's been on a diatribe ever since on his own podcast, on First Take. They're pretty much trying to protect his own masculinity in a sense. Then LeBron James decides to go on the Pat McAfee show and explain his side of the story. And I find that very tactical on his part. Because one thing is for certain. LeBron James is a very intelligent and shrewd person. Is he narcissistic? Absolutely. He's always been that way. Can he be passive aggressive? Of course. Absolutely. In this situation, he was very tactical about what he was trying to do. And he knew that the only way to get his narrative out there was to go on a different podcast. He was never going to go on any Stephen A. Smith platforms or any ESPN-led platforms. So he went to Pat McAfee. And we know Pat McAfee works for ESPN, of course. But he basically explained his side of the story. And I find this very, very interesting to the fact that ever since the whole confrontation happened on live camera, Stephen A. Smith has been around here trying to pretty much say that whole thing was scripted and everything LeBron was doing was a setup. Like, bro, if you get yourself out of those studios and out of that Hollywood world and face the reality, man, there was nothing set up about that whole situation. And more importantly to this, how many times have we heard on live television? Every single time on live television where Stephen A. Smith would pretty much say, if any athlete has a problem with him, come pull up on him and let's see, and we can talk about it. And guess what? LeBron James tested your temperature, and the temperature turned out cold because Stephen Smith pretty much did what everyone else expected him to do. He got told, he got blasted, and he was put in his dang place like everybody expected him to do. Now it's all of a sudden now he's trying to go around saying that if he would have stepped up to him, he would have basically punched him out. Like, bro, you're not going to throw no dang punches at LeBron James, who's literally 6'8", 6'9", weighing about 225 pounds of pure muscle. Like, this dude is a freak of nature. You're not going to do anything to LeBron James. So cut the nonsense. So the other thing that I really did not like here in this whole situation is how the whole media has been pretty much, exploiting this to what it was and pretty much missing the entire plot. The plot is that LeBron James was defending his son from all of the derogatory remarks that Stephen A. Smith has done. And when Stephen A. Smith made those remarks about Bronny James, he basically made it from a closed lens perspective in the fact that he didn't think that Bronny James belonged in the NBA. Not understanding the fact that Bronny James was a second round pick and the man has been making huge strides of improvement in the G League and pretty much has shown you based on his performances that I've seen in the G League and in some of the games that he has played recently that Bronny James is pretty much killing the narratives that he doesn't belong in the league. Yes, he does. He belongs in the league, and he's going to continue to get better. If he's going to be a star, that remains to be seen. But the bottom line here is LeBron James has pretty much raised his sons to be basketball players, and his other son too, Bryce James, he's also going to be an NBA player in the near future. So I don't know what Stephen A. Smith thought it was a good idea to question, the authenticity of LeBron James as a father, and that pretty much did not age very well. And ever since then, Stephen A. Smith has been on a diatribe, just making reckless remarks and throwing things at the wall, hoping that it would stick, and so far, it hasn't stuck. But the one thing that really got my attention, and the reason why I'm doing this video, is because that he made another remark on his First Take show stating that LeBron James did not attend Kobe Bryant's memorial in 2020, which was very disrespectful, and more importantly, it was pretty much accurately wrong when you look back at the article from the LA Times that LeBron James did appear at the memorial. He just requested not to be seen on camera because it was about Kobe Bryant and the memories of Kobe. And for Stephen A. Smith to go on his First Take show and make that, again, another disparaging remark, even also saying that he didn't attend Dwayne Wade's retirement ceremony, knowing the fact that Bronny James had a cardiac arrest incident and nearly could have died. Like, I don't understand why Stephen A. Smith thought it would age very well. And he's making himself look like a complete jackass every time that he runs his mouth. So, at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith should listen to the advice of Shannon Sharp when Shannon talked about it last week on his Nightcap podcast with Chad Johnson, that Stephen A. says this needs to stop this. Just keep his mouth shut, leave this alone, let this lay, and move on. Even if the bosses say this is the hottest thing in sports, take the route and just say, listen, I'm not talking about it. I don't care what you want me to do. I'm not going to talk about this, period. It's not going to happen. What's done is done. But it just feels like that Stephen A. Smith is pretty much letting the bosses dictate what he decides to talk about. And he doesn't take ownership or complete manhood in terms of telling his bosses, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. It's because it's completely overblown. So I can understand why, a lot of the LeBron James fans feel what they feel. And I want to make this very, very clear. I am no LeBron James fan under any circumstances, for all the LeBron James haters in the back. But I can understand where a lot of the LeBron James fanboys are coming from, that this man receives endless criticism for no apparent reason. Is some of it warranted? Yes. But the majority of it should not be on his shoulders. And unfortunately, he gets a lot of unnecessary blame. And it's just pretty much unfair. And for him and for Stephen A. Smith to attack his son in that matter and try to throw out badly misinformation into your TV show where lots of people, millions of people watch ESPN regularly, watching First Take, and then you throw out that kind of misinformation about Bronny James, the Kobe Bryant Memorial, and then the Dwayne Wade, retirement jersey thing. It did not age well, and it made Stephen A. look completely unintelligent, and it just made him look like what he always been. Nothing more than a useless company man who got a huge $100 million deal, and now you're throwing out badly misinformation out there. You basically are making a mockery out of sports journalists who have to work on these beat reports and making sure that all the information that is being reported is accurately correct. And you're on a big platform on ESPN, and you basically make a mockery out of the network once again. So the only thing I got to say here is that one of these people has to be the bigger man and let this go. And if Stephen A. Smith is going to continue on doing this, he's going to bury himself into a deep hole that he can't get himself out of. I think at this point, Stephen A. Smith just needs to keep his mouth closed. You're no athlete, you're no NBA player, and you don't have any right to try to tell all them athletes to come pull up to see him, because they're going to pretty much test your nerve and they're going to put you in your place. Why do you think people like Glenn Robinson, Sr., also Terrell Owens, they pretty much pulled up on you and pretty much tested your temperature, and it turns out your temperature was ending up turning out cold. So miss me with the nonsense. As for LeBron's sake, I just hope that LeBron can just let this go, not talk about this anymore, and just continue on his basketball career as he approaches and his final stages of his great NBA career. I mean, he's gonna go to the Hall of Fame no matter what. So, like I said, to end this video, one of these two people has to be the bigger person. And we got other problems in this country right now we have to deal with, and this is not the biggest problem to deal with. And I think that both of them are making themselves completely bad out of black fathers out there who trying to do the right thing. And more importantly, too, Stephen A. Smith is also a father. You know what I mean? How can you sit there and criticize another father when you're actually out there being the father yourself, and you're trying to critique another father and how he does his business with his children? That doesn't make any level of sense. So Stephen A. Smith needs to go sit down somewhere with that nonsense. But that's just my overall thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who do you side in this situation? And more importantly, how do you think this is all going to all play out? I'm interested in what you guys think. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good night. Peace.